a month, 2 months of evidence that we can't deal
Hello.
with you. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi,
Hello, hello,
hi,
Armin.
hi, everyone. How are you guys doing? Okay, great. We already have people here. Fantastic. I see Jose, Sketch, Michael, Danny, Guy is here, Pedro, Noah, Jeffrey, Shadi, Al Ace, Ian, Joseph. Oh, Joseph's here. Samantha, Livy, Sherry, Simon, Carolyn is here. Okay, Leo is here. And then Nail Bunny, Mythic Minx is here. Treaty is here. Nina is here. Rod Miller and Soapbox. Fantastic. Yes, Livy. Yes, you're here as well. And we already have a lot of ones in the chat. That's fantastic. That's great. I love it. I love it. So, Danny is good. Danny,
Yes.
you're modding?
Yeah, I'm modding today, and I see some new people, so I wanted to give some instructions. The way we do things is I keep a list of people to speak, and please only speak when I call on you. When you're not speaking, keep your microphone muted to avoid background noise. And if you want to get on the list, put 1 in the chat to speak about a new topic, or a 2 in the chat to respond to the current topic. And when you put a 1, also please include your topic so that we can make sections for the video more easily. And remember, the call is recorded, including the chat, so don't say or show anything that you don't want on the internet. All right. Should I go to the first person on the list?
Yes, and by the way, thank you, guys. Please appreciate our mods because if Danny and other mods were not doing what they're doing, none of this discussion would be possible. So thank you, Danny. Really appreciate you. So, and yes, let's do that.
Okay, so Noah is first, and he wants to talk about leaked documents link Chinese firms to IRGC missile fuel network.
Say that again. Chinese what? Link what?
Link between Chinese firms and IRGC missile fuel network.
Okay, so Chinese support for the Islamic regime in Iran. I'm going to call it. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Noah, go ahead.
Noah? Is he even here? Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Yeah, this was an exclusive by Iran International, but they were there was this Chinese company called Haiku. I'm gonna butcher it wrong. Energy, and they were working through firms through Turkey and the UAE. And they were helping the IRGC acquire chemicals used in the production of their ballistic missiles. They were acquired by the hacker group Prana and shared through Iran International. I sent a link, but they also, but this shows a deeper connection between like Chinese companies and CCP and the IRGC. And I also sent it to Jeffrey as well, and I know he'll want to discuss it too. But I just wanted to get your thoughts and everyone's thoughts on this because this is pretty interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna read the. Thank you for sharing the link when you. And no, by the way, thank you for going out on a hunt for these things and bringing it to our attention.
You're welcome.
I just fed the article to AI to get a summary of it at the key points, the key findings. So we could just, so I don't have to read the whole thing for you guys. So basically, here's the summary of it. Leaked documents obtained by the hacker group Prana revealed a sophisticated procurement network involving Chinese, Turkish, and UAE firms assisting Iran's IRGC in acquiring ballistic missile components. Wow. So here are the key findings. The network, so it's a sanctioned Chinese intermediary, Haokun Energy, used a Turkish front company, GDCP, to bypass US sanctions and funnel chemical precursors to Iran. So here's how the shipment worked. The document details plans to ship 12,000 tons of sodium perchlorate and sodium chloride, enough to produce solid fuel for approximately 2,500 ballistic missiles. Holy shit. And then we have port explosion, a deadly blast at Shahid Raja'i port in April 2025 is now linked to a shipment of these specific missile fuel chemicals. And then we have the financing. And the operations are funded through oil for goods barter. So this is how they go around the sanctions. This is how you don't need the financial institutions to be able to do trade, right? So they do a barter system, oil for good. So, and also cryptocurrency transfers and gold import networks. So Haokun Energy reportedly still owes the IRGC over $1 billion in oil revenue, and the IRGC involvement. So correspondents link the network directly to Ahmad Mohammed-Zadeh. Oh my God, really? Okay, a high-ranking IRGC figure involved in clandestine oil sales, despite denials. Despite denials from Beijing's and assurances to the US, these documents provide the strongest evidence yet for Chinese entities facilitating the IRGC missile program. By the way, guys, this is so damning. An operation this big will not be possible without CCP approval and CCP planning. Like this is not some companies in China that are doing this on their own. This is for sure planned and done by the CCP itself. There's no way the CCP is not involved in this. I'm actually now, based on this, I'm really eager to hear what what people, more knowledgeable people in this chat have to say about this. So yeah, let's go to the responses.
Okay, so first sketch.
Hello. One easy takeaway from this is that the CCP has 51% on every company of an ownership. So you can't do this in a company with having a CCP agent inside your company. Like even if you have an American company in China, there's going to be a CCP guy in there, and you're not getting to own 51%. You're not getting to own 50%. So every one of these companies has corporate ties directly to the CCP. There would be someone there that is informing of all these financial decisions. Like this isn't something that you can do on the side, or oh, this company did it and we didn't know. Like I could maybe buy that in Turkey, that there was a shell company in Turkey and the Turks didn't know. And I don't buy that a lot. I'm like a sliver in there, like maybe, but they know, they absolutely know. Not only this, that explosion was huge. I suggest you pull up, if you can, the video on that explosion, because that killed a lot of people. A lot of people died because of that. It could be felt for miles and miles away. And if you could ever pull up or find, like just share that explosion from different people, it just shows the danger of what's being played with here. And they are labeled dual use materials, but don't let that fool you. Those dual use materials can have very deadly consequences. I would like to see some sanctions from this. Like we had a trip over there. I don't remember any big deals being signed from that trip. I don't think we're on great terms. I think we had a little talky talk, but it's more like a talk like, hey, stop messing around, because bringing down the hammer. I do not know of any big deals that were signed, just a whole lot of discussions. And I think it's got to become sanctions time. Maybe for Turkey too. I don't know.
I think Texas Troop on YouTube chat is saying there is an active sanction on this company already from 2022. I mean, that's why they're using barter system and gold and other things, because there's already a sanction.
Yeah, you can increase it. You can always go higher. You could always sanction more.
But sanctions, but sanctions is not going to stop them from doing barter. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if you're losing 100, let's say your economy is 500 billion, right? And you get a sanction of 50 billion, right? And they bump that up to 100 million, 200 million. Sooner or later, it doesn't stop the barter, but you might want to stop the barter because you're losing on all your other trade. That's the point of economic theory. You want to do this side thing, do this side thing. Maybe we can track it, maybe we can't.
So-
But as soon as you clock it, your trade with us and our allies is going to be affected, and that means you're not going to be able to sell your stuff, our stuff on your economy and your tax system, and your stuff isn't coming here.
So I think you need to put because the CCP as a whole is involved, because that company doesn't seem to give a shit anymore. Like they're making their monies from other means. You need to punish the entire CCP. You could put just tariffs on them, on CCP as a whole.
On-
to punish them.
All China.
Yes, basically.
I believe that escalation is something I would love. You've touched on a point that is very good that I didn't think about when I was talking about. But if it is on just a company, it should be CCP wide.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, someone's mic is open, so if you're not speaking, please close your mic. I don't know whose mic is open. I think it's good. I'm gonna mute your mic myself then. I think I fixed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next person. Jeffrey first.
Okay, good. This is Joseph. Can I say something?
Well, no, put a one in if it's about this, put a 2 in the chat, and Danny will add you to the list. And if it's a new topic, put a 1 in the chat, and Danny will put you on another list for the new topics. And then he will read your name once we get to you. And thank you, Joseph. So put a 2 in the chat if it's about this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jeff,
I just
Go on, Jeff.
So again, I mean, this is one of the things that this is exemplary of one of the organizational operational ties between different elements of the autocratic bloc, whether it's the Chinese Communist Party, Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state, Mullah regime, now remnants, North Korean regime, etc. It's very true. Like, nothing happens in China economically that is not directly okayed by the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party's overall strategy views economics as part and parcel of warfare. You see that with regards to, and Sketch touched on this, some of the violations of the very agreements that the Chinese Communist Party had signed on to and then violated to be included in the WTO and become most favored trade status and all this other shit under Clinton with support of ANCAP douche canoes from Wall Street. Right. Like they were supposed to sit there and fully privatize all of their companies. They didn't do that. The Chi-Coms maintained 51% control, so controlling shares of every company, because the Chinese Communist Party engages in things like economic warfare and adopted things like state capitalism. It also is the economic manifestation of something called civil military fusion. So it's not just enough to sanction these fucks. We need to de-link from China. It is going to be painful. It is going to take a mass national mobilization. It is not going to be free market crap. It's going to be a blended, mixed approach. We have $37 trillion of fixed capita that we have invested in China over the past ever since the opening up of China, with special economic zones in like the late 70s to today. There's a reason Gordon Chang pushed for that right after the onset of the Chinese Communist Party pandemic, Wuhan COVID-19. Part and parcel of that should be to maximize the onshoring and or friendshoring of critical industry. And when we finally get to a point where the geopolitical and strategic wherewithal doesn't allow us to take anything, I would contend, and I've actually suggested, we should just annex and take all of their shit and then have the people that have physical capital in China blow up their factories in place to say fuck you to the CCP. It doesn't matter how much you hate it. It doesn't matter if you want to like jump up and down like Rumpelstiltskin or push like fucking neo-Marxist or Maoist crap or ANCAP bullshit. This is where this world is at, period. The enemy gets a vote. And you're seeing it now. I mean, the fact, how many times did I outline one of the core reasons why President Trump was, and Israel for that matter, was forced to respond and preemptively hit the Mullah regime is because the Mullah regime was readying its ballistic missile and drone forces to fucking launch in mass. Ballistic missile forces that were increased in both quantity and quality with regards to solid fueled ballistic, like, what is it, upgrading their ballistic missiles to being solid fuel, which means they can be launched ready to go. This has to happen. And a lot of people in the Chi-Coms, they spend exorbitant amounts of money to fucking bribe whores in our government and or in like CEO headquarters to try and lobby to make it not happen.
Okay, thank you. Let's do Samantha next.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, we have to like impose sanctions to like words are difficult. It fucked with me like on such a level that I don't think I even understood how much it fucked with me in January when like the internet, like everything was happening and like the internet shutting down, and I'm like, I know the CCP had to have been involved in like helping shut the internet down in Iran, and you have no idea how much that just like I don't think I understood at that moment just how much that was going to like emotionally fuck with me. Like, I don't, I can't talk.
It's okay, Samantha. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for always re-examining your positions. We are always, it's very brave. Thank you.
Okay. Joseph is next. And you didn't put the 2 in the chat. I just want to remind you guys that there is a chat that you can access with the chat button in the bottom right. But Joseph, you can open your mic now.
Wait, hold on, let me enable his audio because he was allow audio. Okay, go on, Joseph. Joseph.
Mike. Okay, it's active.
Yes.
What I wanted to do is in the last 12 hours, Japan has released some of its most advanced ships to the Navy, and it has worked out an agreement with Cambodia. And they are telling the Chinese in an indirect way that they should be carefully not to attack anybody, and especially Taiwan. I thought this is something that all of us should know, so because it's very excessive and improved escalation in the discussions.
Actually, that's a very good point, Joseph. Oh, sorry, you were not finished. Go ahead.
Okay, well, basically, as I told you what I know so far, and the new Navy ships that the Japanese have released are incredibly powerful. They're even more powerful than some of the US ships. And they only take 90 people to manage, as opposed to over 1,200. I'm sorry, 200 for the others. And they are loaded with incredible amount of electronics and AI stuff. And they can manage anything from radio to rockets to everything else, and they have an excessively improved detection systems for anything. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you for the reminder. Three things about this. First of all, yes, Japan is making a huge shift when it comes to the level of aggression military-wise, and is doing a lot of security agreements, is basically involved in doing a lot of security agreements with the countries in the region, new agreements. with, I don't know, Vietnam, Cambodia, Philippines, South Korea. There's a lot of military drills and practices that they're doing with each other. Um, a lot of that, by the way, is to President Trump's credit. We have to give President Trump credit, because a lot of people think that President Trump is abandoning this area and is not supporting this area. But I see it as just removing the training wheels on the bike, making these countries stronger against the CCP, but making them more reliant, making them spend more. So that's point number two. I just want to say the strategy of President Trump making these countries, a lot of these countries didn't like it, that they seem like they thought that President Trump is abandoning them. But I think that it's actually strengthening them. Yeah, exactly. They're building it. Japan is right now in the center of creating an Asian NATO in the Pacific with all the countries there, which is really good. Like, we should all encourage that. And but last point is that Japan has a huge barrier, which is their constitution, and they need to change their constitution. And they're in the process of that. Like, this is a very big political topic in Japan. And it's a very, very, like, it's actually a hot topic in Japan, and a lot of their policy regarding defense and military activity in Japan, this is a very controversial topic, and the current government is trying to get enough support to be able to change that constitution when it comes to untie its hands for it to be able to be much more militaristically aggressive. So the current government has a lot of support among Japanese people, and hopefully this is why we should hope that Japan's economy improves, because if Japan's economy improves, the current government will become more popular, and if the current government becomes more popular, they would be able to have enough political support to get the votes needed to change the constitution. And if they do that, Japan will be unleashed. Japan is very technologically advanced, and they have so much to offer when it comes to military equipment, advanced military equipment. And the constitution is it's like holding them back. And hopefully the current government will be able to gather enough political capital to be able to undo that, because right now there seem to be leading in that area in Pacific and South China Sea. And also, by the way, one thing I suggest you guys to use the word Indo-Pacific a lot, because China's policy is to connect the Pacific to that area, like to not see it as separate. Apparently, politically, globally, if you keep using the word Indo-Pacific rather than seeing the Pacific Ocean separately, apparently it helps China convince the world to become more involved in their defense, in getting support for creating their Asian NATO-like alliance in their neighborhood, right? Anyways, was that all the responses?
Sketch wanted to add something really quick, and then it's you.
Oh,
Yes,
that was-
just on this
Oh, yeah.
fleet would help us get those petrochloride, these shipments, so we don't have to be chasing all these ships down. This kind of alliance could help us stop this kind of shipment, check on it, make sure that crazy stuff isn't being shipped around, because any one of these nations could look at that explosion and say, hey, I want to know what's on your ship, because you've been shipping some stuff that if it explodes near our ports, it could affect our economy greatly. And by these explosions I'm seeing, you guys, sometimes you don't have the best regulations on inspections and making sure that everything is spick and span when it comes to keeping these things safe. So I think this kind of this union directly relates to the topic, in that these dual use materials, they need to be able to be flagged, and they need to be able to be captured, and it can't be only the U.S. and all of the sea doing this.
Okay. Is it me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just looked this up and I was correct. Listen to this. This is actually very interesting. Japan promotes the term Indo-Pacific, and basically Trump also used it recently, which was Japan was very happy that Trump used it. So Japan promotes the term Indo-Pacific to broaden the strategic map beyond East Asia, where China holds dominant influence, by linking the Pacific and Indian Ocean. So it's trying to link them together by linking the Pacific and Indian Ocean into a single geographical theater. Japan accomplishes two key strategic goals. One, brings India into the fold. It officially includes India, a massive rising power with its own broader disputes with China, into a regional security coalition alongside the US and Australia, known as the Quad. And then that's one. Two, shifts the narrative. It emphasizes a free and open Indo-Pacific. So free and this is another term that the Chinese keep using, FOIP, free and open Indo-Pacific. This is a term that they're trying to get trending, free and open Indo-Pacific. Okay, built on maritime security and international law, which contrasts with China's expansive territorial claims and Belt and Road initiatives. Ultimately, redefining the region creates a much larger unified front of democracies to balance against China's growing economic and military power. Guys, one thing it doesn't mention here is that there is this area that Japan thinks that the world is like ignoring, right? So the South China Sea is basically this area between the basically India, right, the Indian Ocean, and the rest of the Pacific to the right of it, and this middle area where Japan wants the world to focus on. So by basically connecting the Pacific and the Indian Ocean as this one thing, this center area in the middle becomes the key part from a strategic and military perspective. So that's another thing. Also, one thing else I wanted to show, again, I can't show it. So I'm going to put the link for you guys. It's only for 39 seconds. So I'm going to share this screen on YouTube with everyone else. Play it for 39 seconds. If you guys want to watch it when I click by clicking on the link. But I'm going to share it. So this is the port in Iran. This is what Sketch was talking about. This is the port in Bandar Abbas. These are so you guys could click it and watch it if you want. This is the aftermath of the explosion in Bandar Abbas. I think, when was this exactly? This was in April 2025, and this is the aftermath. This is the Chinese chemicals that was in the port, that was basically the precursor for building solid rocket fuels for the Islamic Republic. It blew up, and this was the aftermath in Bandar Abbas. Let me just play it for 39 seconds and then come back to you guys on school. But look at that. This was devastating when it happened. So this is the Chinese chemicals in Bandar Abbas blowing up, and this is the aftermath of that. We're just almost done. 10 more seconds. So yeah, it was a huge explosion. This was around a year ago. More than a year ago. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. I just wanted to show you guys. All right, back to you guys.
Well, actually, back to them, guys, because you have a super chat.
Okay, we have one super chat by Attila. This is directed at Jeffrey. Jeffrey said, so Attila saying to Jeffrey, Jeffrey, I respect your military subject matter expertise to the max. But it's saying, but you have to be realistic. You cannot sell this on the world stage. So, Jeffrey, you want to respond to that?
Oh, there are many ways to sit there and skin the Chinese Communist Party, which I'm not going to get into here. I mean, I understand that the Chinese Communist Party spent 50 years spurring foreign direct investment to try and insulate itself from backlash for their overall increasing amounts of belligerency and aggression. Sooner or later, it's going to come to a point where it doesn't matter what that economic interdependence is. We will absolutely go to war. Okay. Well, that's a fair point, though. That's a fair point.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. All right. What's the next topic?
Pedro, about Netanyahu's statement on the regime falling.
Netanyahu's statement on regime in Iran falling. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. So basically, Iran International recently posted that Benjamin Netanyahu stated for the first time that the Mullah regime is going to fall, like the the structural system is falling and that the regime is falling. Like, did you have you ever saw the post, and what does Netanyahu statement means for the Iranian people?
So the Iranian people really appreciated when Prime Minister Netanyahu talks like that. I think I think he has said this before. No, like maybe not this clearly, but I have heard him say. Let me actually read the what you're talking about. Just read this update. So this is by Iran International saying Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Monday night that the foundations of Iran's ruling system had cracked and that it would eventually fall. Yeah, you're right. Actually, he has never said it this confident. Like, he has always said that they're moving towards that, but he has never said it like this confident, like this certain. He seems more certain than ever before. I mean, Guy, you might correct us, because if you have heard anything like this before from Netanyahu. But let me read the rest. And say, speaking at a farewell ceremony for outgoing Mossad chief David Barnea, Netanyahu said Iran had already paid a heavy price, according to a statement from the Prime Minister's office. Here's the direct quote from Netanyahu. He's saying the foundations of this terrorist regime in Iran have cracked. It will never return to what it was, and I tell you, it will fall in the end. Netanyahu said. So, Guy, do you have any comments on this regarding the internal politics of Israel and what this means? And has he ever said this before?
I also add, I found an article on Iran International from a year ago, from the 12-day war, titled "Netanyahu says Israeli attacks pave way for Iran regime change." So he's definitely spoken like this before.
So there's a slight difference. Okay, so that's what I remember, right? So paved way for regime fall is, I've heard statements like that before, but saying it will fall, that is a bit new to me. Like that's a bit different. But thank you, Danny. That's a good to know. And yeah, go on, Guy.
So something important to keep in mind. I noticed two things about this quote. One is there's no timetable. He didn't say it will fall soon. And other statements that we might discuss later or some other time, and I'll get to when that some other time might be on my one. So one is there's no timetable, and two, it's important to understand that this is Netanyahu's like political life mission. He has been talking about this since, I think, the late 90s. And there is an election that's going to be in either 3 or 4 months in Israel. And you can very easily look at this as, so it could be real confidence, and it could be playing the political game for like showing this campaign as having been successful in getting, because he probably wanted regime change before the election, then he's going to get a landslide. In the case that wouldn't happen, which as of now seems likely, he might want to create the not illusion, but to emphasize, to stabilize the image in people's mind that it's only a matter of time and it's basically fallen. So there might be other reasons for him saying that are not actual confidence in it falling. I'm not saying he's not confident in it falling. In fact, I am actually confident in it falling. But there might be extenuating circumstances, let's say, that would cause him to say this at this time, especially considering it was said in the ceremony for replacing Mossad leaders, and I might talk about that in my one. So there's a statement here that I can read. It's a couple paragraphs long, and I don't want to like take over. So I can read it if you want, but it will take like a couple minutes to read. That might be relevant.
How many minutes?
Like I know like Netanyahu stated that before.
Pedro, if you want to, let's go to the list of people, and then we could come. If you want to talk again, can you? I mean, Danny, who's next?
It's Guy, then Sketch, and then I'll call up Pedro after. Guy, if you wanted to read the statement, I can give you like 2 minutes. Do you think it's short enough?
Okay. Yeah. I think I can do it in 2 minutes. Okay. So the new leader of Mossad is from outside the organization, and now this is a Channel 14 report, so it should be taken with some grain of salt. They're not the most reliable, at least on certain things. So alongside the praises that he gave to the outgoing head of Mossad, Dedi Barnea, the prime minister has felt a sense of amiss regarding the performance of the organization, meaning Mossad, in the last 2 campaigns against Iran, and especially in Lion's War, which is epic fury. This feeling that is shared by other people, but by people other than Netanyahu as well, is especially related to the topic of the destabilizing of the Iranian regime, but also to the fact that the Mossad was not was not impressive enough, according to this version, in the war against Iran. Now, it's important to say, unlike some statements, Barnea has never promised to Netanyahu or Trump that the Iranian regime would fall in such a short time, and the Mossad timetable was talking about a campaign that would last way beyond the kinetic stage, which is a very interesting statement because that's where we are now of the war, until the goal of regime change would be achieved. Let's see if there's anything else that's important here. And they have way less manpower than the army. Okay, so even taking all of that, the political echelon, both in Jerusalem and in Washington, feels as though in this stage we could have been closer to the goal of regime change in Iran. Not all of the blame is placed on Mossad. And for example, the Kurdish military invasion of to Iran plan was canceled in the last minute by President Trump, following pressure from Turkey's President Erdogan, and might have been able to change the picture. And we discussed this, that's bullshit, because the Iranian people would not have agreed to that, and you can't trust the Kurds. So that part of the report, people keep saying that Erdogan made him not do it. I don't believe it. I actually believe Trump's version that they just stole the weapons. But regardless, this feeling of a miss is what caused Netanyahu to bring a new head of Mossad from outside the organization, against Barnea's the current head of Mossad, against Barnea's stand, who wanted to bring his the vice head that he had to lead after him. Now, the person he's bringing now is known for his outside the box thinking. That's like his main, and for being a different voice in meetings that he was part of. So that's a statement. So it's true that we still want regime change. We still believe in regime change. If this report is true, it's also true that there is a disappointment that it is taking longer than originally expected.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. All right,
let's go to Sketch.
All right, this has an international meaning too. I understand that he may have said that many times, and many times it may have been true, But the significance that it has now is that it's combined with signals from inside Iran. The president is trying to resign. They're not letting him resign. There's this battle between the mullahs and the IRGC approved mullahs, the IRGC approved clerics, and the clerics that represent the, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of it. The more Durkas. There's a name, the
Paidari.
you know the name?
Paidari.
The Paidaris. Yeah, so there's this fight between the Paidaris and the IRGC for control of the nation. They start to see this as a military takeover of the constitution. The person that has been technically on the international stage, the person that holds the title of leader, first of all, technically under the constitution can't be a leader. Second of all, hasn't even been seen. These are big cracks, big problems on the world stage for the regime. So why does this messaging matter? It matters in the sense that's another point in the graph that draws a line to this government is unstable. And once that line goes high enough, you can declare this government as unable to negotiate, unable to maintain order in the country, and you get a government in exile. You get funds allocated somewhere else, and you get another people approving the decisions and the negotiations, and then you get to go in and take out whoever's there that doesn't agree. So that's where I would put this, because I do believe that this will probably have some internal politicking to do with Israel, but it's still a move on a larger stage.
All right, thank you. Pedro?
Yes. So I know that what you're saying, Guy Lando, is pretty accurate. But what I was saying is that Sketch was right in saying that the IRGC right now has an internal fighting. Like right now, there's an internal fighting between the so-called moderates and the hardliners, and even Armin Navabi clearly stated that the ceasefire is doing a lot more damage to the regime than the actual airstrikes. Because, I think you might heard of Maya Tusi about stating that when the airstrikes began, all the regime apparatus was united. But when when the ceasefire was announced, that that was when the infighting started getting much more evident. So that's what I mean by saying that. That's why I think Netanyahu was saying those words, because he's seeing a lot of infighting within the regime. What do you think? What is your opinion of that, Guy Lando?
So I don't disagree with any of that. And for the record, as I said, I agree that the regime is falling. I wanted to give the other angle so that people who might not be familiar with Israeli politics and with the context would know. And also, I actually would have expected him to make a more, like, a bolder statement, like it would fall soon or something along those lines. And the fact that he didn't, to me, goes along with the disappointment from the performance of Mossad so far in how fast it's taking and how fast it's going to take. So that's all I wanted to emphasize there. But I do agree with the point, and I do think that actually saying it might bring it closer to fruition. Like, just by saying, "Oh yeah, it's falling," creates perception inside. People inside might be panicking, might be looking for a way out, and then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Great point.
Yep. And also, Jonathan wants to ask, so how long until the Islamic regime completely fractures? Although I see that there's a lot of infighting, I don't see evidence of it breaking apart right now.
So when it comes to how long it will take, I think for us, that's impossible to guess. But I could tell you, I spend a lot of time following regime propaganda and also listening to what the pro-regime people say. And if over the years, I've seen this division and escalation has been escalating, like getting more and more, the internal division getting more and more. And I've been actually an advocate that this is the greatest of the weakness of the Islamic Republic for years. And I'm so happy that more people are now focusing on this more than anything else, right? I always said that this is the Islamic Republic has three fears, and people focus on two of them. I forget the third one, which is actually their Achilles heel. The first fear is United States and Israel and external pressure. The second fear is the uprising of the secular-minded Iranian people, which is a bigger threat even than the first one to them. But the third threat is the biggest one, which is their own people, their own false supporters turning against them. This is a lot of people think that the Islamic Republic makes irrational decisions. But if you understand that this is their main fear, justifiably, a lot of what they do actually makes logical sense because they know that this is their greatest weakness. And so many of what they do assumes that the fear number 1 and 2 is the greatest fear, so they should basically making decisions to avoid that. But if you understand that this is their greatest weakness, you could see why they're focusing on avoiding their losing their own followers, right? So the division is increasing, and that means that we're getting closer to the fall of the Islamic Republic. To me, like that is me watching things blow up help, like that's good, that's get us closer to the fall of the Islamic Republic. But me seeing this division, that is a bigger indicator that we're getting closer and closer to the end. So, and based in the past few months, I could tell you that this division has gone up like a hockey stick, like if you had the chart. So like if we were 5 years ago, we were at a 5, and then I don't know, 2 years ago we were at like a 10. In the past few months, you would just all of a sudden drop to 90 or something like that. Like it's like crazy. It's so high that they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Like the Islamic Republic actually spent time trying to hide the division, and they're like, fuck it, and they're coming out and saying like, guys, stop fighting. And by saying guys, stop fighting, they're basically admitting that they're fighting internally, which is I mean, guys, there's, to be clear, that there's two types of fighting. One that they used to be transparent about, the other one that they were trying to hide. And the one that they were transparent about was the one that they wanted to promote as a way to distract from the real one, right? So the whole hardliner versus reformer infighting, that's not what the infighting that I'm talking about. That's the infighting that the regime, the fake infighting that the regime engineered, and they would advertise that, like they would want people to know about that infighting. But that infighting was to distract you away from I mean, when I say by the moderate is like reformer, that's fake. Like none of these people are moderate or reformer, so-called moderates or reformer. But the actual infighting that I was paying attention to and was waiting to see how much it escalates over the years is hardliner versus hardliner, and that's what we're seeing right now. And even better would be IRGC versus IRGC. That's what we want to see. I mean, we have some of that right now, but it's mostly ex-IRGC versus IRGC. I want this to escalate to the point where we have current IRGC versus current IRGC. That would be the ultimate amount of division. And so if you're asking for a timeline, I can't give you one, but the former head of Mossad, Barnea, gave us one. And I'm not saying he's correct, but I think given that he was head of Mossad until I think yesterday, I think we should take his timeline seriously. But he said 7 months if there's two conditions are met. He said the Islamic Republic will fall in 7 months. Just recently, he came out and said this. If two conditions are met, and those two conditions is that there is no deal and the blockade is not removed. If the blockade is not removed and there is no deal, he thinks the Islamic Republic will fall within 7 months. All right, Danny.
Okay. Catch really quickly and then we move on.
Yes, this has an international aspect. Like you're saying, how much before it falls internally? Well, if they have enough signals externally to be declared not in control, it doesn't matter how long internally they have to devolve into a literal civil war. Like they could have sometimes they do demonstrations and counter demonstration just for show, like they did with their spray painting each other's news stations. And you know that could escalate, but enough of those staged or true riots, and it's like these people are not even in charge anymore. We got to step in. So it's not just will they devolve internally. Don't take that as the sign that we would wait for. If there's enough signs of division, we would just jump in.
Okay, and Jeffrey, and then super chats.
Real quickly, so there's also sub-state, transnational, and track 2 material support efforts that are going on. You have other nations that are co-aligned stepping in to assist Iranian resistance, not the least of which is Ukrainians. And I want to reach out real quick to Mahar. How do I say her name? Mahari Mehri? I'm going to butcher that. Forgive me. There are non and lesser kinetic lines of effort that you can pursue right now that will legitimately bring the pain to those motherfuckers. Reach out to Ali because I'm going to be working with him to have him be the main point of contact within this community regarding the lesser kinetic lines of effort that deals with things like competitive open source intelligence gathering and link analysis.
By the way, that's Jeffrey. That's a very good idea. Because I'm so out of touch, and you guys want to basically work with people in this community. I think Ali and Guy are the best people right now to, if you guys want to basically. And by the way, Sketch also, if you want to do, like, you could reach out to Ali and Guy if you have any collab ideas or anything like that, right? Because they're going to be in charge of certain segments. Okay. And yes, Danny, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to move on, but I have a 2 from Mano, and I think he's a first-time speaker, so let you go ahead and then we do
Second time
super chats.
speaker. Yes, Mano, go ahead.
Oh, then I would know. Okay, it's fine.
Thanks, Armin. I was about to correct that. Thanks for the correction. Yeah, so just to piggyback on the topic around the possibility of regime collapse, I wanted to hear a bit of your thoughts around the development today, around the Iraqi militias and the transfer of the weapons to the Iraqi state, because that kind of signaled kind of like distancing from the Islamic regime. So obviously, when we talk about collapse, one of the variables to pay attention to is the weakening of the proxies. I believe that would be one of the objectives if you want to destroy the regime. So given the fact that in the past decades we have seen different factions within the Iraqi militia kind of like distancing themselves from the regime, what signal does this provide to us in general?
That's a very good question. I've seen something regarding Hezbollah people complaining, which is supports this. But can you tell, before I go to that and tell you what I've seen, can you tell me exactly what did you see among which militias in Iraq that you're referring to? Can you tell me what's happening again?
I can't. So the Iraqi militia, just to paraphrase, they're distancing. They seem to be distancing themselves from the Islamic regime, and I'm just talking layman's terms. So they're focusing more on aligning with the local government over the Islamic regime. So I kind of did dig into it, and I saw that the Islamic regime spends about $100 to $700 million a year funding the Iraqi militia. So seeing another faction within the Iraqi militia turning away, they're apparently affiliated with the PMF. I thought, to me, that came across as a signal. So wanted to get your sense, your view on that, rather.
Okay, so I'm looking into that, because if that's true, that's a big sign. You're right that would be a big sign, because that means that they're assessing that this is a sinking ship. I've seen something else that actually supports your theory. I saw some videos from Hezbollah people complaining that the Islamic Republic is not paying them like they used to, and complaining that they have been abandoned. This is a very encouraging sign, because you would think the Islamic Republic, the last thing that they would want to cut would be funding to these militias, because that is basically the last line of defense, not just against the Israelis and the Americans, but also the Iranian people, right? So if that is given that here's the interesting thing. I was thinking, like, how could they not spend money on them, because they could cut so many other things before they get to not spending money on the militias. Like, the militias and the people who they use for enforcement mechanism would be the last thing they will cut. Ali was pointing out that maybe it's not because even though their revenue has dropped significantly, it hasn't dropped to the point where they can't pay these people. So but some people are saying that maybe it's more of a liquidity issue rather than a total number revenue issue. Like some of the oil revenues that we're calculating is not just getting into their hands because all of the financial institutions are not working properly. A lot of the money is not making it back to Iran, even though technically some of the oil exports are still there through land routes and stuff like that. But if they're not paying the Hashd al-Shabi or Popular Mobilization Front, because the only way, if these people get paid, they will remain loyal, right? Hezbollah, Hashd al-Shabi, if they get paid, they will remain loyal. So if there's any sign that they are losing, I think it's beyond, like, this is a sign of something. If there is lack of loyalty, if they're basically moving in the right direction, it suggests that they're not getting paid. If they're not getting paid, it shows that Operation Economic Fury and the blockade on the Iranian ports must be really, really hurting if they can't pay the militias, because that's the last thing that they want to cut. What do you think about that?
Yes, actually, thanks for highlighting that Hezbollah people aren't paid. I wasn't aware of that. If that's the case, that's very powerful. I'm going to look out for the video, given that they're probably like the most powerful militia. So on the WhatsApp, not the WhatsApp group, on the chat, I did share the link on Al Arabiya, where Tom Barak, who's a special envoy for Syria and Iraq, was congratulating the militia for transferring the weapons. So his statement, I think, is very good PR, and it signals that things are going in the right direction in terms of weakening the regime in terms of the regional influence.
Okay, I also just double check if what you're saying is true. So it's true about Asa'ib Ahl Haq. Okay, so this is some of the most powerful militias of the Islamic Republic in Iraq. They just announced they are handing their weapons over to Iraqi government. Holy shit, I didn't see that. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. Officially stepping away from Iran's independent resistance axis. This is, however, not true about Kataib Hezbollah. So this is the most hardline factions that are strictly refusing to disarm, and they remain fiercely loyal to the Islamic Republic in Tehran. So Asa'ib Ahl al-Haq, that's true about them. So that's a big thing, by the way. So Kataib Hezbollah, no. Asa'ib Ahl al-Haq, another proxy, Shia proxy group in Iraq, yes. Okay, this is good to know. Thank you.
Well, I didn't know they were significant. That's very good news then. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the super chat.
All right, we have another super chat by Attila, again, to Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you're here? Yes, Jeffrey is here. Is he around? Okay. Yes, Jeffrey is here. Attila to Jeffrey with the super chat saying, "Thank you, Jeffrey, and I agree. War seems inevitable to me too. That's why we have to be realistic to not lose too many supporters. Hostile propaganda is more effective today, in my opinion." All right, Jeffrey, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say again, thank you, Attila, for the send up and for the valid point. We were kind of chatting back and forth on YouTube, so I'm kind of like my attention split, and it's obviously like counter strategic information influence operations is going to be a part of any comprehensive strategy against the Chinese Communist Party and match them and beat them at their own game at gray zone conflict. Well put, Attila.
I like.
I'm just going to put a little extra teeth in it, though.
Okay, let's do next topic. Cat Lady wants to give wants to talk about U.S. keeping an eye on Israel and give an update from Flight Radar.
Wait, I didn't catch that. Just
okay, so I saw.
No, 1 second before you speak, Danny. What is it about again? Sorry.
U.S. keeping an eye on Israel and update from Flight Radar.
U.S. keeping
No,
an eye on Israel. It's okay.
I
Got
mean,
it.
Lebanon update. That's
Okay,
Lebanon update.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let me
simpler.
Lebanon update.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I saw an unidentified U.S. aircraft above Lebanon. I did a little bit of search for about its registration number and all of that. It's a Cessna 208B Grand Caravan. If I'm not mistaken, it's for surveillance, intelligence, and reconnaissance. And they were going around kind of east of Beirut, and then they landed in Beirut. And my first thought was, oh, they're keeping an eye on Israel. And my blood pressure just shot up the roof. And then they landed, which is weird. But I got to calm myself down.
Kat, your audio, people
Yeah.
are saying it's not really good. Is there any way you can fix that? Yes. And it's too
Okay,
loud. And it's
but did you hear what I said? Because it's kind of over.
Yeah, we did hear what you heard, but it's like it's not very clear. If you could fix that. We missed some
I'll try. I'll try. Yes. Okay. So, but did my message go clear, or should I repeat something?
I mean, if you repeat it, your audio is still the same as before. So I don't know if it would make any difference. But yeah, is there anything you could do to fix it?
Yeah, I can.
People are saying you're too close to the mic.
Oh. Oh, my instinct was to go any closer, but okay. So now, yeah. So
just a summary.
yeah,
Maybe just give us a summary. Just a short summary.
I hope it's not
maybe your microphone gain is too high. Is there? You could do that. You could reduce the gain. It's like so. It seems like it's. You know what it sounds like? It seems like you have your lips right next to our ear and you're shouting in our ear. That's what it sounds like.
So weird. Yes. Okay. So weird. It's not different. Okay. I'll try to speak slower, quieter. But I just hope it's not some. It's not. I'm joking. I just hope it's not some intimidation by the U.S. over the Israel. And also, one other thing is, do you hear me better? By the way, if not, I'll stop now and come back again.
It's okay. I think we got most of the points. But thank you for catching me. By the way, Kat, given that you're doing more, given that you have so many good updates, maybe like I think it's worth it to invest in a microphone. Because you have so much good information. Yeah.
I'm on a tablet right now. And I have a microphone on the way. Yeah, but never mind. Yeah, totally right. But I have one little point left.
Okay.
Which is, I saw so many right wingers online today having their tiny egos boosted by, oh, Trump just showed Israel who's the boss. Like having so much fun celebrating the stupidity of what's happening right now. And seriously, it's disgusting. But yeah, not much, you guys.
Okay, thank you, Kat.
Thank you,
Kat. Thank you. All right, we have so many twos in the chat. Oh wow, so many people want to talk about this topic. So let's go.
Okay, Jeffrey first.
Just real quickly, it could also, I mean, there's definitely that ISO cuck element on the right as well as the left. It could also be bot farms that are aligned with the Mullah regime remnants attempting to try and amplify what they might perceive as division. I promise you, you have many people here that love you.
All right, Sophie.
Sophie.
Is there Sophie?
Sophie, I see her. She's here. She's not opening her mic though.
All right, let's come back. Figure it out and we'll come back to you, Shauna.
Right here.
Oh, okay. Sophie's here. Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Well, why it's giving me a weird symbol on the screen? Like I didn't do anything different. All I wanted to say really quick was just that, hey, Kat, sometimes like these unnamed sources and like i.e. Axios and garbage, like they insert swear words and say Netanyahu's effing crazy, blah, blah, blah. Like this has been denied by the conservative correspondents from Channel 12 in Israel and like other people. And I mean, look at everything else that Trump says about Netanyahu, that he doesn't get enough credit. He's a wartime president, he's being heroic. Like they should show him more love. I just don't let those people get you too stirred up. I mean, I think some things are in public and I think that they're just fine behind the scenes. And I think that there's a lot of support. I mean, if Israel, it's a lot of noise because if Hezbollah does anything, which nobody trusts that they're going to just refrain from things, then it's been condoned that totally go ahead, attack them back. And no, Israel doesn't need our permission, but like, whatever. And just don't worry about it, I think.
Sophie, keep in mind that it might not be fake news, but it might be on purpose leaked information to basically encourage the good cop, bad cop, game that they play with the Islamic Republic. It might be real and leaked on purpose. What do you think the chances of that?
You're asking me?
Videos in particular, leftists, they like to stir up trouble. And I just think I think it can serve both purposes, but I do think that they actively try to do that. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Shauna?
I just wanted to point out too that I'm just kind of reiterating what everybody else has said, which is don't let them get you down. The ISO cucks are also being very loud right now because it's an election year and they're trying to cause problems and trying to get MAGA to lose faith. They're talking about the economy, which people are feeling stressed about. I'm not kidding when I say Americans are getting frustrated with the gas prices. They're trying to stir division. They're trying to get, that's why Fuentes openly went to the Democratic Party. The ISO cucks are, unfortunately, they're alive and kicking. They're going to be very loud for the next few months. Anticipate that. Try not to let it derail you. And it just means we have to fight harder.
And Richard?
Hi, thanks a lot. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what Armin said about the intentional leaking of the phone call. But if you saw on the Trump side, there were multiple, I think at least 2 sources that gave that that so-called leak to Axios and the other media. So that tells me they really wanted it out there. And it reminds me a lot of what happened right before Epic Fury, when they were sort of, spreading the news about the division between Trump and Bibi. And it turns out one of the purposes of that was just to enhance the element of surprise because they were working together in the background the whole time. Not sure if it's a fair comparison, but I think it's worth noting.
All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is Guy. Just Israel update. Is that your topic?
Ooh, okay, that's great.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, so before I begin,
Israel updates. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So before I begin, to everyone watching, tomorrow, Wednesday, June 2nd, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Israel, 6:30 Tehran time, because now you guys got internet, Armin's Rage Stream will host a very special moron for Armin to rage against, me. So instead of the Rage Stream, we're going to do an Israel update segment. And hopefully we'll do a whole bunch of those more in the future. Maybe Armin will rage. We'll see. That's up to me and how good I do it. But he might also not. But if you're interested in Israel, it might still be worthwhile. And so I have 2 things. I actually had 3, but I already gave one in my response earlier. So now I have 2 things left, and they're completely unrelated to one another. So we'll do one today, and the other I will do tomorrow. So you have something to look forward to. And Armin, I'll let you choose. One is the most likely, so that's relevant to what was just said, the most likely version of the Trump Netanyahu calls that I saw. So I saw a bunch of reporting. This is the one that I think is most likely to be closest to the truth. And the other is Netanyahu Easter eggs. So before Rising Lion, he actually quoted that verse from the Bible on the Knesset stage. And last week, like 6 days ago on Thursday, there were quotes that came out of a closed conversation that he had, and one of them was also an Easter egg that I think is interesting. So which one of those do you want us to do?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wish we could do both. Let's do the call right now because everybody's talking about that. And tell people,
All right.
give people context for anybody who hasn't been following what's the news regarding the call. Maybe give them just a short context and then tell us what you think.
Okay. So, is it 2 days ago or is it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? I'm losing.
It feels like yesterday, but I
grasp
think it
of
was
time.
2 days ago. It does feel like yesterday.
Okay. Recently, Trump and Netanyahu had a call about, and then Trump said on Truth Social, "I have just achieved peace in the Middle East, and specifically between Lebanon and Israel, and everything is hunky dory. And Israel is not going to strike Beirut, and Hezbollah is not going to attack Israel." It was left very vague. Then a couple hours later, Netanyahu came out with a statement saying that Trump agrees with me that Hezbollah has to stop striking Israeli cities, otherwise we will strike Beirut. And depending on who you ask, this would be because, like for Trump, it's because Iran, like the regime, threatened to stop the negotiations if Israel strikes Beirut. That's the end of the negotiations, and they'll strike Israel as well, and they'll do a whole bunch of stuff. And apparently, Trump and Netanyahu had a couple of tense calls. One before this was announced, where they agreed on what would be announced, and one after, because so this is the new report, people on Trump's team were not, and including probably Trump himself, were not happy with Netanyahu's statement because it wasn't quite what they agreed to, or something along those lines. There was a miscommunication, and then they had to straighten things out. So here's the update, and there was a leak to Axios that said that Trump said, "You're not in jail because of me," and a whole bunch of expletives, and everything that people who dislike Netanyahu would imagine that is actually said. It's way too on the nose to be true. Is my take on it, but this has been out there. And obviously, a bunch of politicians in Israel jumped on the opportunity, saying Netanyahu sold out the Israel security for his own gain because Trump is trying to promote Netanyahu being pardoned in his corruption trial. So here's the update that I found that to me makes the most sense. So essentially, the idea is Trump is expecting Israel to be okay with the limitations imposed on it with regards to Lebanon, for the greater goal of getting a good deal with the regime at the end of the road that would meet his demands. And I think this is the important part, if Iran does not answer those demands, those hard demands is what the way it's described here, Trump wants it to be clear, to be very, very clear that the regime was the one who failed the agreement and not the US or Israel. So he wants the political capital. Therefore, he's pressuring Israel to limit its operations in Lebanon. This comes from a party who was briefed about both conversations that Netanyahu and Trump had yesterday. Okay, so it was yesterday. because this is from today. In the first conversation, there were differences of opinion because Netanyahu clarified that Israel would not be able to be okay with the fact that its citizens and residents are being fired at from inside Lebanon. Trump did not like hearing this because in his eyes, Israeli activity in the Dahya, which is the main neighborhood that's the hub of Hezbollah in Beirut in Lebanon, could bring about the end of his talks with the regime in Iran. However, Hezbollah at the end of the day blinked first, so they had a call and they didn't quite meet eye to eye, but Hezbollah blinked first because it was afraid of strikes in the Dahya, even though they don't. So that's me saying they don't actually have a lot there anymore. They moved everything out of the Dahya, but the psychological effect of Israel striking the Dahya would be devastating, and they're already being mocked for oh, look at the victory, a third of Lebanon from the south has been occupied. And so because they blinked first, the formula that Trump posted on Truth was achieved, by which firing at Israeli settlements within Israel proper would be answered by strikes on the Dahya. And after they've agreed on this, Netanyahu posted a message, an aggressive message in which it said that I told Trump that if Hezbollah would not cease attacking our cities and citizens, Israel would strike terror targets in Beirut. And Netanyahu added that the IDF would continue acting in southern Lebanon as originally planned, and has not used the term ceasefire at all, even though Trump and the Lebanese president have used it to describe it. And the White House did not like this message by Netanyahu, and therefore they reconnected him with the president for the second call. And this source, said that in the second conversation, Trump and Netanyahu straightened things out. They understood what the miscommunication was and so on, and they're now on the same page. And at no point did Trump attack Netanyahu or insult him, as reported by Barak Ravid in Axios. Now this is the yelling emphasis is my own. This source has stated that Netanyahu is well aware of Trump's moves and his plan as agreed upon between the two, even before Roaring Lion, which is Epic Fury. So whatever is happening now, according to this, has been agreed upon before Roaring Lion by Trump and Netanyahu. Therefore, because this was agreed upon ahead of time, the White House did not understand why Netanyahu is stepping out of line from what he has agreed with the president and insisting to expand the activity in Lebanon. And I'll say that he's paying a huge political price for appearing to be Trump's bitch in internal politics, and his statements, even though they're in lockstep and there's a greater picture, this is nevertheless applying pressure, and it might not necessarily come out that this was part of their plan. And so he's trying to maintain his aggressive posture and his Mr. Security persona, and that's probably why he did it. So an Israeli source has confirmed that there were gaps between them. There was daylight between them that has been closed in those talks, and Israel eventually got what it wanted by stopping the firing on the northern settlements, or at least that's what the ceasefire conditions say, which Israel is still confident that would be maintained. So that's one thing. And before you respond or other people respond, there's one other statement that I found interesting. So Katz, the Minister of Security, said today that we will strike back. We will strike Beirut because of the violations of the ceasefire, but we're not going to do it today. We're going to do it eventually, but not today. We're going to do it, like I think he said, in a few days or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact quote. I can find it. But to me, I find that interesting because originally what has been laid out is that the plan for striking Iran is actually a joint plan to strike Hezbollah and Iran together. And what better way, and including the Dahia. So let's say, okay, we're not going to do it now. We'll wait, but we will respond in the Dahia eventually. And if the strikes might resume, that would be a good time to do that. So yeah, so that's the update.
So the only issue, based on what you're hearing, between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu is the post that he made.
Yes.
Okay. And
The
main
aggressive
issue,
posture that was made by the post, but not anything material on the ground.
not anything material on the ground. Okay.
Just
And
they want to keep the appearance that which is the truth, that the people who are being unreasonable are the Islamic Republic, and not to give them any excuse to break the deal and blame it on any external source. And Netanyahu's post risked that.
Okay. And Axios exaggerated how big the difference was.
Yes, and also lied that Trump said something about the trial, and I'm the reason you're out of jail, so you better do what I say, and everything that the biggest conspiracy theories in Israel claim about Netanyahu.
And Netanyahu's motivation for posting something like that is to show that to the internal audience in Israel that he's holding the remote, like he's the man behind the wheel. He's not being controlled. Okay,
exactly. Yeah,
he's not being controlled by the
Americans. He was being hammered for this.
Yes, but so President Trump's priority was that how does the Islamic Republic view this? But Netanyahu was also focusing on internal politics within Israel. Correct?
So yeah, almost. Netanyahu was very much focused on internal politics in Israel. I think that was his main focus with the post. It was also a post made in Hebrew that was then translated. Trump, I don't think he cares what the Islamic Republic thinks. I think he cares what the Islamic Republic can make appear plausible.
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's actually a more accurate way of saying it. And how are the Israelis taking all of this right now with regards to Netanyahu? And badly?
Yeah, people still think that he's being a bitch because we haven't struck the Dahia yet. Now, I think that this is part of a larger plan, so I'm not moved by it particularly. And since Katz said that we will strike the Dahia, we're gonna do it at our own terms. You could, if you hate the current government or Likud or specific individuals, you would say that, oh, he's just trying to save face and hoping we all forget about it. I think that we will. Yeah, I think he meant it, and it will happen at the time that the boom booms resume.
And you think that President Trump's plan was justified and is working against the Islamic Republic?
Yes.
Okay. That is a lot of
I think,
useful information, Guy. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a lot of detail. Thank you. But go on.
Thank you. Yeah, and I do want to emphasize the to me incredible statement for what we've been talking about over the last few months since the ceasefire started. The source stated that Netanyahu is well aware of Trump's moves and plans, and as was agreed upon between the two of them, even before Epic Fury or Lions Roar. It says Lions Roar, but Epic Fury is the American equivalent. And so whatever is happening now, according to this, was agreed upon ahead of time before February 28th by Trump and Netanyahu. This is part of the plan. And as I said earlier, the Mossad assessed that the regime falling would take more than just kinetic actions. So this would be, theoretically, this could be, okay, we had the kinetic plans to basically strip them of their capabilities. Then we have the non-kinetic plan, and this could be what's unfolding right now.
Wow. So basically, what we have been saying since, I don't know, forever regarding kinetic is not
Yes.
enough. We kind of need this up and downs and political maneuvering as well. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for confirming that. Okay.
But yeah, but the fact that there's a source saying this, and they're saying that this was agreed upon, so it could have still been the case, but not agreed upon ahead of time between them. That, okay, we're going to do the kinetic action, and then we're going to do the stage where you're messing with them diplomatically in negotiations and trying to cause internal division. But apparently, this part was also agreed upon ahead of time, according to this source, which the reason I trust it is because this is the most reasonable version of the two conversations that I've heard so far.
Okay. So more alignment than people are claiming, basically, is a summary.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, let's see. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for all of that. So let's see what the other people have to say. And then we'll go.
Tomorrow,
11 Iron put a 2. Iron, did you already say what your response was?
Yes. I already said that. So, but
Okay,
we also have
we
also have 3 super chats. So after this, we could get to that.
Yes, I also put a 2. Do you think that the fact that Axios is mentioning conspiracy theories that are more specific to within Israel, like specifically that Trump is keeping Netanyahu out of prison, or that Israel's actions are going to make people get mad at Israel, do you think that points to a possible Israeli source for the comments?
I think the Israeli source for the comments is Barak Ravid. Like that I don't know if he made it up or filled in some blanks, but yeah, it strikes me as exactly something that Barak Ravid would write of his own accord. And maybe he misheard or interpreted things in a way that would confirm his presuppositions, his pre-existing biases, and maybe it's more malicious than that. But I think that the main source for this statement is Barak Ravid himself.
All right, that's it. Let's go to the super chats.
Okay. We got 3 super chats. Thank you, guys. Ida with a super chat saying, "What is this? Where am I? And why there's only 2 out of 10 super chats?" The Rudolph. Well, we're now at 5. So thank you, Ida, for getting us there. Thank you. I appreciate your support. And I always like how you start the super chats. Where am I? What's happening? And then we have Attila giving an explanation to Ida, saying, "Ida, we are not wealth transferring. We are wealth generating at the moment." Wow. How dare you use my own spells against me, Attila. Amazing. What the? Okay. I see what you did there. Okay. This is my reward for discussing economics with you guys. Okay. Not doing that again. We're all commies now then. Share everything with me. All right, so let's go to the next super chat again from Ida, saying, as an Israeli, very confused. Okay. So guys, we have to work on this. Okay, we get into so much detail, we have to figure out a way to start with a simplified version of what we're about to say, then go into the details, and then come up with a simplified summary of what we just said. So I think that would be like a simple, nuanced, simple sandwich. Nuance in the middle, simple announcement of what we're going to say, go into the detailed, simple summary at the end. That would be a good.
I agree with that. By the way, what we didn't do now that we probably should have is plug my channel, because I'm going up with the channel.
Oh, yes. Let me actually put the link to your channel. Actually, can you
which will be discussing Israeli politics in English, helping people who want to become familiar with it. Wherever I have biases, I will point them out explicitly, but I will also try to remain unbiased and say all the this side thinks this side thinks that. I tried doing that now as well, and at least based on Samantha's response, I think I got pretty good. Yeah, so I at least exemplified her position well enough.
Okay, great. I'm gonna put guys' YouTube channel in the chat. There's nothing there yet, but as of we're gonna change that tomorrow. So go subscribe. Thank you, Guy. Oh, thank you again, Danny. You already did that. Sorry, I didn't see it. All right. Always so
Ahead of you by a
helpful.
couple of seconds. Okay, Sketch is next.
On my topic?
Oh, yes. What is your topic?
Oh,
So,
it's on topic, yes.
but well, we got one super chat really quickly. Casey, thank you so much for the super chat saying bring back public deletion for Ken O'Keefe. YouTube, we do not endorse this message. This is in Minecraft, okay? YouTube, please do not strike us down, okay? He means in Minecraft, not in this is a joke for legal reasons. This is a joke. And thank you, Casey, for the super chat and also putting us in danger. All right. So yeah, what's the topic?
Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Just the general expression.
That's not at all. That's thank you so much. That explains a lot. But can you give me more details? No, it's
Yes,
okay.
like what Trump is doing is not perfect, but it's good. What's going on with a lot of things that are happening in Iran? They're not perfect, but they're good. And people want to nitpick it, break it down, and tear it to pieces because it's not perfect. We don't have perfect. We're humans, right? We can't make these perfect plans. And people are all over Bibi, all over Trump, all over everyone in this for small things. And they want a perfect plan, and they're not letting a good plan go through because they expect perfect. They expect a perfect way to take the IRGC down, a perfect way. And this is just in general, in anything that's getting brought up, it's getting nitpicked to pieces. Like I talked to you yesterday about this pre-Islamic thing where you're trying to tie cultures, and you were very receptive to this. Later in the chat, when I talked to the guys, they tore me to pieces for it. I love them anyway, and we're open to how shall we say, having different perspectives and not being in an echo chamber. We don't do echo chambers here, but I have this sense that no matter what is being brought up, the things that go against the plan that is good are very, I wouldn't say trivial, but we are falling into this trap. Like, oh, when will the IRGC? This came up earlier. When will the IRGC fall? That doesn't really matter. If it shows enough cracks, we could just declare them a failed state, right? So that's you don't need the perfect IRGC going into a civil war plan to work. If you could get them fighting good enough, so that you could declare a government in exile. That's just one example. One pushback I got, and I respect it, and I admit I don't know a lot about the Bedouin culture or how much there is of that before Islam.
Focus on
right?
Trump,
I don't know.
guys. Focus on Trump.
Focus
because
on
going
Trump.
from
Okay.
Yeah, because people are going to be confused. Like we're talking about Trump.
Okay, I'll focus
attacking
on
the
Trump.
Islamic Republic and the pre-Islamic Bedouin Arab tribes. Like what the hell? Like what is this? So yeah, that's
Okay, so it was a thing about culture, people tying people to good culture. But the thing about Trump, the thing about the blockade, is the blockade perfect? Can you take the blockade off? Yes, because there's still a good plan. Go after the ships. You can just go after the ships. You don't need to have the blockade be localized there. What we want is the strait to be open so that we can get the ships that are trapped there. There's 20,000 souls trapped there for months, right? So we want them out. If we can remove the blockade, but still chase down any ship that comes out of Iran and stop any ship that goes in by just firing a rocket into their engine room, that'll work just as well as a blockade. You understand what I'm saying? So when Jeffrey talked about decoupling from China, is there a perfect plan to decouple from China? No, but we're taking many different steps, like friendshoring and offshoring, having partners in South America where we can get these rare earth minerals, where we can go to Venezuela and get the heavy crude that is used for plastics and textiles, that is not the same as the light crude used for fuel. So as long as we have a multifaceted approach that is good, we're trying to chase down good. We should not, I mean, some of us will do it. You always need to not be in an echo chamber. That's something we do here. We're not in an echo chamber. we push back against each other, that's fine. But you can't destroy every single plan that comes up in search of that perfect plan, because there is no perfect. You won't find perfect among humans. Like even the religious people and the people that are not religious or not even faithful will tell you you can't find perfect in humanity. We're imperfect humans. We're not going to come up with a perfect thing. As you know, we have to go for the good. Like understand and recognize the good before you pick it apart because it's not perfect. So that's what I wanted to put in there, because I've said this before. I don't want the people of Iran, the people who can hear us better now, to think that good things are not happening. I want them to understand that they're not perfect, and they will know themselves and feel themselves and their own suffering and their own toil through the days when they're over there, that this is not perfect, but good is happening, and we have good plans, and good will come. Good will come. That good day when the toppling will happen. Good things are coming. It may not be perfect, but we are all working towards that greater good for all.
Let's go to
everyone.
responses. Guy?
Yeah, so in keeping with that, a small update that just popped up. I'm translating from Hebrew. This is apparently new. The US has just sanctioned the largest digital asset stock markets in Iran, as well as their leaders, due to their support in the terror activities of the Islamic regime and its efforts to avoid sanctions. So a lot is still happening. Like however much they've been squeezed, they're now being squeezed even more. And so let's let things play out.
You know, just quickly on that, I just don't know why people don't appreciate the level of damage that we have inflicted upon the Islamic Republic in just the past few months. Like, I don't know if, I know that people are in a hurry, but if you just zoom out a little bit, nothing like this. I don't know. This to me, this has been the most, even without the economic pressure and the political mind games that they have played with the Islamic Republic. This has been, just focusing on the military operations alone, this has been the most successful military operations, I think, in history. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating.
I agree.
But yeah, this is like some crazy amount of progress in such a short amount of time. And people are like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like, what the hell? Like, have you not seen? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I think people are not appreciating how much progress we made.
Yeah, and any leader that isn't Donald Trump or Netanyahu, the media coverage would look very different. And we have to give Scotty B his flowers. He's been doing an excellent job. He's like the silent killer. He's like salt.
All right, let's go on to Jeffrey.
What Sketch said. So it's definitely desirable to take anticipatory approaches towards mitigating unintended negative secondary consequences, refining your stuff. That said, Sketch is right. You can't allow yourself to be in pursuit of that, be paralyzed from action. He's right on the money. You shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, particularly if you're operating within time compression. Well done, Sketch.
Okay, next I have a response from Jonathan. I think that the problem is that we want to be sure that it will work in the end. I think people are worried that the regime will crack down hard on the Iranian people, going door to door to arrest them for treason if the US leaves now while leaving the regime in place.
Right. So
Right.
that's just really quickly. Sarah also in the chat was saying, yes, it's been great, but the regime is coming down hard on the people, so we are panicking. So yeah, so to be fair, when Iranian people are responding that way, that's not what I meant. Okay. But from the perspective of Iranian people, every time they are expressing frustration, I see where they're coming from, and I don't judge that. I was talking about maybe non-Iranians who are expressing frustration over, are we there yet? Like, I don't see where they're coming, unless they're also caring about the Iranian people. But yeah, from the perspective of people in Iran, I don't judge that. I completely understand.
Okay,
Yeah.
Arhelda?
I just think that when we're talking about this and perspectives and trying to be patient with Trump and the military and et cetera, we have to remember the human side of things. And we do have Iranians inside right now, occupied Iran, that are really struggling, depressed, desperate, no jobs, no money, no food, no water, no medical supplies, et cetera, et cetera. And, in some areas, locked down, and I just think that when we're talking about this, we have to remember that there are literally people inside suffering, dying, being executed, tortured, imprisoned, etc. So anyway, that's just my perspective on this. And of course, there's many dissidents and diaspora and non-Iranian supporters on the outside that are suffering for the same exact reasons. So when we are talking about why is Trump being so slow, why is nothing happening, let's just wait for the Islamic regime to fall, etc., etc., etc. Well, like I said, I just think that we need to take that into consideration. That's all.
Okay, next is Yuval.
I don't have any idea. Who's speaking?
Yuval Berger.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Yes.
Okay. So regarding Armin's comment about why people don't appreciate the damage that was caused to Iran, I think what happens is, as opposed to if you take, let's say, I don't know, the Second World War as comparison, in the time of printed press. In the time of printed press, essence mattered far more than facade, because the news was just you could have a whole campaign and it would be summarized in one printed article. Regrettably today, because of the role of media and digital media, facade counts far more than it used to, and essence counts far less. So you and I can sit and mathematically prove that this is the greatest military victory of the century. But as long as people go on TikTok or on other social media and see an Iranian spokesman saying we are victorious, all our logical calculations doesn't matter. Because there is no victory image. I mean, you can show 1,000 videos of facilities being demolished, but all the regime has to do is to show a video of on Piers Morgan. Send what's the name of that professor that speaks for them? I forgot his name. Send that professor Marandi. Yeah, send Marandi to speak for 20 minutes on Piers Morgan. And as far as the average Gen Zer, Iran is still standing on the regime is still standing on its feet, and the war hasn't been decided yet. So that's the reason people don't appreciate it. Once the regime won't be able to say with a straight face we are winning or we're holding on, only then will victory be achieved in the eyes of most people. That's it's just the nature of our times.
Can I respond to that really quickly?
Yes.
Please.
So this is it's another part of the nature of our times, is that if they could put videos on TikTok, we could also put videos on TikTok. So you're completely correct that the objective reality is not enough. The marketing, the reaching out, the advertising of our positions are also important. And that's why we need to do a better job at not just knowing the facts, but also selling the facts. So if they're on TikTok, we should be on TikTok. If they're on Instagram, we should be on Instagram, and we need more volume. One thing that we're trying to eventually do with this group, and this is just the beginning of it, is to make this into an incubator of activists. Find well, your mic is open, by the way. Find the people that make the best points in the whose mic is up? Find the people that could be very efficient at making the points in the most interesting ways, in the most effective way, and then use AI and other technologies to make it look good. And basically do, instead of do trial and error, put all the content out there, cut out the most interesting parts, put it on all social media, see what gets the best engagement, and then come back, like create a laboratory of the best content to put out there to basically fight against that type of narrative. So that's point one. Point two, you're completely correct that the regime needs to admit defeat. And this is why, so do we have the military operations, and we have the psychological warfare and the political. This is why the ceasefire was so important, right? So the military operation, no matter how many times you bomb these fuckers, they keep saying like we're winning. It doesn't matter how much stuff you blow. The regime can sell the idea that we're still winning to their own supporters, right? And they can also use people like Piers Morgan and other people and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson to convince Americans that they're also winning, right? There are certain things that makes it undeniable that they're losing. For example, if the enriched uranium leaves Iran, and also if the Strait of Hormuz opens. The reason why that's undeniable, because then you get the regime supporters themselves attacking the regime, because those are their red lines. And this is why the political game and the ups and downs and the ceasefire and the negotiations are such an important part of this, because that's the thing that causes division, and that's the thing that causes the regime people attack other regime people for their failure. So when we're talking about the Islamic Republic, we should make sure we have to understand that it's not a monolith. They're in different segments that they have, that they are basically competing against each other. So if we give them enough reason to show to their own followers that they're losing, instead of having us pointing out that they're losing, they will accuse of each other of losing and being, you know, how what they're doing. So here's the thing. For example, if you have in the United States some Democrats saying Trump is losing, and the Islamic Republic takes that and goes on state TV, see, like, look, the Americans are admitting that they're losing. And if we have now in Israel some people saying that Netanyahu hasn't performed well, and the Islamic Republic takes that and goes to state media and says, look, the Israelis admitting that they're losing, and that means that we're winning. This is what we need to do to them, because of their own internal competition and infighting. At some, we're going to get their own people attacking other people within the regime, accusing them of not being strong enough. We already have a lot of that, and we go take that. We basically, that's exactly what they do to us. We go take that and we go outside and be like, look, they're admitting that they're losing. This is exactly their tactic, and we use it against them. And then we need to make viral videos about that. Look, the Islamic Republic, we need to make videos that within few seconds shows that the Islamic Republic is admitting defeat, and this is why President Trump is winning. That's what we need to do, and we need to figure out a formula for making these things go viral.
Okay, Yuval, respond quickly, please.
Yes, because today people don't respond logically. That is, people will handpick what suits them in the news and with what media provides them. I'm all for what you suggested. It's just that regrettably, this particular war will have to be won with a knockout and not on points. For people to understand who won this war. It's that's all I have to say. It's unfortunate. It'd be very nice if it could have been won on points, but unless there is the regime saying we surrender, a lot of people in the world will simply consider it as if they didn't.
I completely agree that it needs to be a knockout, but you can't get a knockout unless you have the political capital. So that you have to do them both at the same time. You can't focus. I completely agree that you need to get a knockout, but we have democracies, and you need to buy in from the people. So to get a knockout, you need to get political capital, and to get political capital, you also have to keep fighting in the narrative war. I don't. By the way, I don't agree with the idea that people are less logical today than they were before. If you look at people historically haven't been, that smart on average either, individually at least. I mean, I believe in the wisdom of the crowd, But historically, I don't think like we're like more dumb than before. I think we're pretty much the same. If you just go like what people used to just buy and accept before, right? So I don't think that, I think we just get to see more dumb things and more wise things, but on average I think we're the same as how we always used to be.
Okay, and then Sketch wanted to correct something that he said, and then we really have to move on.
Oh, now you guys are misinterpreting me completely. What I'm saying is us that are on the side of Iran. This is who I'm talking to with this. We who are on the side of Iran should instead, because the Iranians who are suffering, which this is my whole point, they are suffering greatly. They are going through incredible hardships. We don't want to be a source for their disheartening. Yes, we can put in a little bit of a bitter, a bitter slice of truth in there, but we can sandwich it between slices of truth that is not bitter, that is good. There's going to be that bitter slice in there that says, hey, this is not perfect, there are problems here, but we should sandwich it in with, hey, look at this good thing that is happening in Iran. Hey, look at this other good thing that is happening in Iran, because we don't want them to lose hope. We don't, once you lose hope, I mean, food is not even as important as hope, because without hope, you don't even want to eat. That's why people can do hunger strikes, because they lose the will to eat, even though it would kill them. You don't want them to prefer death to suffering, to give up. So that was my main point. I'm talking to us. I'm not talking about the media that's going to spin. I'm not talking about all those other places that are against us and spinning us for their own political capital. I'm talking about the people that are supportive of Iran. It's not perfect, and you don't want to be in that echo chamber. You want to be a realistic. You want to say, hey, this isn't perfect, this little bad thing or this big bad thing is happening, but look at this good and look at this good, like sandwich it in, so now that they can see us, they don't lose hope. That was my point.
Thank you. Let's do super chats.
Okay. All right, let me see. All right, we got 2 super chats from Attila. Thank you so much, Attila, constantly supporting us, saying, this is what I mean. Hostile to us propaganda is stronger than we think. Hostile to us propaganda is stronger than we think. What do you get? Oh, yeah. Okay, Jeffrey, go ahead. You respond to that.
She means counter-strategic information influence operations to undermine and fragment and amplify the fragmentation of the IRGC.
That was, I didn't understand that. Can you repeat that in English?
She's saying that, the soft power aspect, right? Like the hostile propaganda against the IRGC has more impact.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Given what she said before about Chi-Coms.
Okay. Thank you. By the way, guys, for people who are new here, Jeffrey, when he says Chi-Coms, he means Chinese Communist Party. Okay, that's what Chi-Coms. And he says that because he wants to differentiate the Chinese Communist Party with the Chinese people, because we're not against the Chinese people. That's why he says it. And then Attila with another super chat saying, regime supporters are appealing to a multi-generational propaganda perspective, which includes anti-capitalism, true, anti-Islamic regime propaganda. Anti-Islamic regime propaganda is just starting up. We have to be smart about it to win this. True. That's why, I think people underestimate how much we have to win on against the propaganda. I know Yuval was saying that, I think Yuval is more interested in focusing on military, but the Islamic Republic's main strength is in propaganda, and humiliation has weakened them. I've seen humiliation weakening them. We need the psychological warfare as well against them. In fact, I think the battle of the narratives, the information warfare and the psychological warfare has had contributed more recently to weakening the Islamic Republic even than some of the military actions. Not all, but even some of the military actions. And Nail Bunny with a super chat. Thank you so much. Nail Bunny came and give us a super chat saying, Armin, enjoy lunch. Remember to chew instead of like breathing my food in, right? Also, there should be fat in your meals. You need fat. It's what your cell membranes are made of. Yes, Neil Bunny, I actually not one of those people who is like just only like focuses on calories. I do not only I have fat in my food, I make sure that I pick the exact right type of fat, right? Like I manage exactly, like I eat a lot of sardines, and I think that's a very good source of fat. So, and thank you. Yes, we need fat in our food. So yeah, don't nutrition wise, my food is like I think perfect. It's just missing some blueberries. Once I manage to add some blueberries into my diet, then there's no better diet in the world. It's the Armin diet, right? And thank you for that reminder, by the way. I also drink milk. There's fat there. All right, and then we have, well, look at this, Neil Bunny taking, thinking about my health. That's so sweet. Isn't that sweet? Like we have the best, we have the best community, Neil Bunny. Like, thank you. And then we have Amir getting us to 10 super chats. We reached our goal. Look at that. Amir with the confetti. Oh, and then we have 11. Amir saying confetti, but seriously, listen to Neil Bunny. Yes, I will. Okay, I will. I promise. What I need is my health related stuff is more steps. My sleep could be 1 hour more. My food is good. I'm just getting 5,000 steps a day instead of the 10,000 that I like to. I need to figure out how to add that to my routine. And then we got another super chat from Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah, saying, Armin, thank you for your contribution to this revolution. Oh my God, look at that. That's the best You guys give me so much motivation. Thank you. And says Azizi. Oh my God, basic Azizi means you're loved. And then say love you. Love you too, Sarah. I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, guys. That was a lot. Thank you so much. I feel it's very wholesome. All right. So what's next?
Richard, about Trump. Wait, did we already cover this Trump BB feud, Richard?
Yeah. You probably missed it in the chat, but I asked you to change the topic to the Fox News interview analysis because I already said that in the response to the Trump BB thing. Okay. So
then
it's a super quick question, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's do it.
So it's really more of a comment than a question, but I think, Armin, I noticed that you and Goldie were talking on the show yesterday about a little confusion as to why the Trey Yingst interview was constantly referring to Kalibaf as a quote unquote moderate. And I think, this is kind of an example of media narratives that we deal with in America. If you live in America, I think maybe you're a little more attuned to it. Network news is going to give you facts with a political spin, mixed in with political narrative. And the narrative will obviously depend on what network you're watching. I say this as a very conservative, far right Republican. Fox News does it with Republican talking points frequently. I expect they're trying to manage expectations and create, what's, sort of plant the seeds for what's going to be a pro-Trump narrative. If they can get the deal with Kalibaf, then they can basically fall back on the idea that they called him a moderate, that they frame that idea in people's mind that he is a moderate. Not that he really is, but that basically it's part of Trump's plan to set Kalibaf and the anti-IRGC forces against the IRGC and sort of give Trump credit for the internal collapse of the regime. So it has more to do with shaping the political narrative for the people watching than it does with accurately reporting facts, as you've seen them. So that could be one explanation as to why they sort of twist things a little bit on that respect.
See, that's actually a very good point, and I tell you why I think we shouldn't be against it, and you tell me what you think, Richard, right? So this also goes, I think this goes in line with my view that Fox News makes decisions based on keeping their audience and their understanding of who their audience is, and their audience wants Trump to win, so they might be planning long term to make sure that they have their narratives right to be able to show that Trump is winning. But I also think this works in our favor as well, because we might hate it for, like, Ghalibaf is obviously not a moderate. Okay, he's like he's responsible for killing so many Iranians for asking for their rights. Like, he has a long history of that. Okay, and he's evil, and he's obviously have supported a lot of terrorist activities against Israelis and Americans. He was actually in charge of many of them. Right? So He's not a moderate, but I think it actually helps, like putting our emotions aside, I think it helps calling him a moderate and reasonable and somebody that is more flexible, because that puts a target on his back internally within Iran, right? Like, if Trump thinks you're a moderate, if the anti-Islamic, the most aggressively anti-Islamic Republic Americans, like, and the audience of Fox News are calling Ghalibaf a moderate, what the pro-regime people here is treason, right? As somebody like, what the fuck have you done that they're calling you now a moderate? Because the label moderate is for, I don't know, they see the word moderate by Americans to be used on Zarif, Rouhani, and Muhammad Khatami, which obviously to their mind, these are Zionist infiltrators, like spies, agents of the American imperialists and Israelis. So now they think you're a moderate. So, what the fuck? Like, are you like Rouhani now? So I think not only you're right, but we also shouldn't be angry about it. I think it actually might help us rather than hurt us.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I also don't think it's necessarily fair in the current media environment to criticize networks for the political narratives. Objectivity doesn't have much of a market value in the American media market. They play to their audiences. This is part of the business strategy as much as it is political. I think the idea that there could be enemy forces watching it and getting ideas like that and using that as sort of an information propaganda campaign against them is an added bonus. It's not necessarily the intended effect, but it could be used for that effect. So I agree with absolutely that could work to our advantage.
By the way, Richard, did you call I think I missed that. Did you call yourself far right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't. Okay, interesting. I haven't seen, usually, people on the right, they say like far right is something, a label that people put on them. I haven't seen somebody on the right call themselves far right. Is there a reason why you're self-labeling yourself as far right?
I'm basing it on the right-wing tables from the French Revolution. Traditional conservative values, basically nationalist values. The groups that call themselves far right, especially in America, aren't really right-wing at all. So I'm saying that to sort of take the name back and make sure that it's help people to understand the true meaning of the word far right, because it's nothing like what these groups have sort of claimed it is.
Okay, interesting. Good to know. True. People are
Javid Shah.
Javid Shah, Long Live America, and Amazrael Chai. Okay, we have some.
All right, do you have to go, or do we have some time for twos?
Oh, I have to go, but I see a lot of people want to talk about this, so you guys could continue talking about it. And guys, this seems like a lot of people are actually interested in talking about this. So people who are on YouTube, if you want to hear the rest of this, I do encourage you, because today's discussion is open to anybody who wants to join. So I'll put the link. I have to go, but you all could just click on this link or scan the QR code at the top left and then jump into the discussion group and see what the rest of the people here have to say about this. Let me stop the recording here. Guys, today's discussion is open to all. So if you want to jump in and listen to the rest of this, is free. Yeah, and guys, I'm about to go now.
Javid
so
Shah.
Thank you, Javid Shah, everybody. And yeah, no, well, let's start from the beginning. Am Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainia, Long Live America, Javid Shah, Payende Iran. See you guys same time tomorrow. Bye, guys.
See you.